I believe for every drop of rain that falls, a flower
So,
grows.
what I love about you, oh my gosh, first of all, I share you with the world every chance I get. If somebody needs to edit a book, if somebody needs to have life skills, if somebody needs to, I reference you a lot to people that are looking for specific things because you have a lot of information and intelligence and wisdom on specific things. You don't just know it, you have the criteria to back it up. So you are, my experience with you has been nothing but magic. And you're amazing. And if I need anything that I don't know about, or I'm saying, Maria, what do you think? You always say yes. You say yes first.
Hmm.
And that's what Jesus calls us to do. Jesus calls us to say, yes, let me help you figure out how that's going to be. But yes is the word that you say. You've never said no to me, Maria.
Well, that's because the work we do is aligned, right? And I feel like being in alignment and following that intuitive hit when you meet someone that, like for me, it's my gut will tell me yes or no, and if I get a yes, I'll move forward, even if it doesn't make logical sense. If I get a no, it's a no, whether it makes all the sense in the logical world. Um, it's a no for me. So, yeah, that's the beauty of it, where finding that aligned community and connecting, it does make things move with ease. And the more I
It
lean,
does.
and the more I lean into that, the more magic unfolds. And I feel like that's been a brilliant part of our journey together, has been following those intuitive hits, because as I've done that, and the interesting part is, if I could have sold your condo in a week, less than a week, and I was your fourth realtor, fourth person listing that property. Never had a showing on it. One of your realtors retired and didn't even tell you, and I get the listing. I had a call. We could have had a deal together in less than 7 days, and it was a no for you. It was a no for you.
Yeah,
And
it
that
was.
allowed us the time, and in retrospect, that allowed us the time to build a relationship together, so that I would be
Yeah.
open to the energy work that you do. Had I met you, done the deal in 7 days, closed in less than a month, I wouldn't have had the time to be open to that. And we
Yeah.
wouldn't have had the time to build that connection. So, that to me is, even though it didn't make logical sense to say, oh, I'll take this listing and then we're going to turn down the first buyer that's ever asked for it in over a year. Um, However, when you said, no, this isn't a fit, I said, oh, okay. If it's not a fit for you, it's
So
not a
I just,
fit for me.
yeah, I just want to elaborate just a tiny little bit about the spiritual aspect of the no.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, no is a full sentence. Someone really brilliant here, a really brilliant motivational speaker taught me that no is a full sentence. No is a full sentence. And when I
Mm-hmm.
say that, there's nothing more to elaborate on that. But the spiritual aspect of my no for that buyer was I was in love with my neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
We had a community. My neighbors were a community. And it was difficult for me emotionally to leave my neighbors and that community. And I did not want to leave my neighbors with the energy that was looking to buy that place. It would
Mm-hmm.
not have been a healthy fit for my neighbors. So that was the no for me. It wasn't the equity. Yes, we desperately wanted to be out of there in a financial aspect, but the 5 equities that I work with all the time, the equity didn't fit the other 4 equities.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the piece for me, that I don't have to understand somebody else's no. that's just a no, and I don't have to understand it. I just allow, okay, if it's a no for you, it's a no for you, whatever the reasoning is behind it. Because energetically, there's something that I can't convince you, and nor would I try. Because even if I did, energetically, it's not going to work out. Something's going to fall apart. Something else will happen. There'll be roadblock after roadblock. So I've just learned to trust that and say, okay, if it's a no, it's a no. I don't have to understand why. And the same with a yes. If it's a yes, it's a yes. And I don't have to understand why. I just follow it as long as it's a yes. If that yes turns to a no, then I recalibrate at that time. So I really feel like this working with you has been one of the lessons for me of allowance. And that's been for me a huge turning point. Allowing versus forcing. It's that power versus force. There's a power in allowing that you can't force by trying to change it.
Yeah. So one of the other attributes working with you, Maria, is I watched you say yes, and I watched you sacrifice your time and your energy when I called you to Healing Circles, which was an hour and a half away from you crossing a border, or when there was a time where we would get together and you sacrificed time and energy to get together with me. There was times I was super unkind to you, honest but very unkind in my honesty, and there were times when I realized I was a little bit too aggressive in those times, and that the pain was very painful, but it was also growth for both of us. And you opened your heart enough to forgive that because you knew the truth underneath it. I have been hard on you many times in my delivering of messages because I always knew you would be a high shepherd. I'm going to get emotional. And so sometimes the high shepherds have to have a little bit more you can't always be soft with the ambassadors of God's work. And so there were times when I was very shockingly aggressive, and there was times you took that in and melted it into your heart and took from that what you took from that. But one of the things that I love so much about you, and this is why you're a high shepherd, is because you don't say no when it's a spiritual quest, or you know that you have a message for another person that is looking for those messages, or you have a desire to awaken the femininity of the world in every aspect. You have a desire for love and light, and so sometimes direction, just course direction, needs to be sort of like tweaked a little bit.
Yeah, that's where it's always checking back in, right? Because it is that's part of my morning practice every morning, is just checking in, because something shifts, something changes, and it's a course correct. It's just like when you're driving a car. You've got a route all laid out, but if the bridge is out, the damn bridge is out. Being stubborn about it and driving right into it is only going to cause death and destruction. So, sometimes there's just a course correction, and that's followed for the highest good, whatever that is. And maybe somewhere along the detour, that's when I meet someone that needs a message or has a message for me.
But your authenticity in everything you do is one of the best ingredients you have within your own personal recipe. Is your authenticity allows you to course correct, get the message, do the work, and then release. And release, which in the way of releasing may sometimes be a message. It may sometimes go to a seminar for a weekend where you're being taught new tools, and you're just holding space the whole time. Holding space is underrated, and you have learned, and I have learned, that holding space is everything.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the most interesting things that's come through to me lately, especially since I tend to be the one up in front of the room, and speaking from the stage. And what I found is that for me, in the work that I do, it's more important for me to be the calmest body in the room holding that space than to be the loudest voice in the room. Because I do have a powerful voice, I can drown other people out. So for me, being there, holding the space, being the calm body in the room, that's where the magic happens. And when I do speak, it has a higher impact because it cuts through the noise. So that, to me, really, when you're talking about holding space, that's what I've been leaning into, being the calmest body in the room. And that calmness brings clarity for me. And that clarity opens me up to more intuition. And then the more I follow the intuition, the more calmness and clarity I get. It's just a refueling and not a draining. And whenever I get the refueling, I know I'm on the right track.
Just those words in that vibrational conversation, more than the words, it was the connection in the spirit allowed us to raise our frequency even higher. So, yeah, amen.
Yes. Thank you so much, Tracey. I appreciate you investing this time with me today. And I just want to say, like, this is I actually mapped out our journey together. I'll send you a picture of it. And when I was looking for clarity on my path, I'm like, what the frig have I been doing, right? And I mapped out from when we met, how you made a connection with me, and then all the connections from there. And what it really has boiled down to me is it's not this culture of hustling and working hard and all of those things. It's actually the calmness and listening and answering the call. Because when I answered that call, literally phone call, when I answered that phone call, I opened up a path to a quality connection that has led to a quantity of varied work. So I think I mapped out at least 7 different ways we've worked together that have been different products, not just the spiritual part of it, which has been even more than that. 7 tangible different products that I've created and sold. And that's done through quality connections, not quantity of connections, not having a million people watching me on TikTok or YouTube or, any of these other platforms. It's actually quality connections in the real world, in community, making real differences in people's lives. That's what this is.
1,000%, yes, and it goes back to me saying what I love about, well, there's many things I love about you. I love you as a human. I love the way that you speak. You speak with clarity, and you speak with reverence, and you speak with conviction. I love the way that you have invited the spiritual aspect into your being, and it's filled you. You only have to spend 3 or 4 minutes with you to feel that tingling in those goosebump connections. But what else I love about you is that everything that you took on, you fed people with that. And the million followers on TikTok don't feed.
No,
They hoard. They hoard, and
it's like a
they
siphoning.
monopolize.
Yeah.
Well, it's like I reference into this because I have some other healers that are struggling right now that are ancient, 30 years, 40 years of healing, and they're dormant right now. And they're struggling, and we talk through it, and they're struggling because it's quiet in the valley right now. It's quiet in the valley right now because there's a million people hanging shingles, on TikTok that are proclaiming their things,
Right.
And it's like going to the fair and buying a candy apple or a candy floss and getting caught up in the momentum of this beautiful, incredible, like instant quick fix. And they're being lured into these places that are less money, that are, glittery promises. And they're getting their fix. They're getting their sugar. They're getting their adrenaline run. And I'm saying to these wise, wonderful people that have been doing 30 and 40 years and 50 years of healing, take a time out, take a sabbatical, because they're going to get the candy floss and the apples. You're going to give them the protein and the prana, and they're going to get their appetite there. Let them.
Right.
And then when they can't feed them any deeper than that, they're going to come back. And they're going to look for the deeper things. And this is what you remind me of. You have taken, yes, you've done this for 8 years, but literally you've done the work of 50. So I will say that it doesn't and the amount of time, or whatever that time is, when you're dedicated on an 8-year journey, 365 days, getting degrees after degrees, and learning the tools you need to home, where your toolbox is so beautiful. You did the work. You went to university in 8 years versus 40 years. You're still equivalent to a 40-year university degree. So it doesn't matter how we do that. It matters how we dedicate that.
Yeah, and exactly. It's the quality and the depth, right? And I often say that it's like my depth and breadth of experience makes me unique. And if you value,
you are unique.
Yeah, and if you value that, let's have a conversation. If you don't value that, here's Google. Have a nice day. And that's where I'm not here to convince anyone. The people who are for
you just need to experience you.
Yeah.
You are unique. And you are someone. I refer very few people. I'm very careful about that, because credentials and your word is the most important thing you have. And so your words are spelled. So I'm very careful on who I refer. But I would never not refer you to anyone. Kelte, Tracey, all the new people that you're connecting with. But this is the cool thing about you. You trust what we have so deeply that when I say Maria, you're like, yes. And when you say Tracey, I say, yes. Of course. Whatever you need. Yes. It will always be a yes for you. And it will always be a yes for me, because we work with Source for all the highest good of the highest beings of the world, including the highest good and highest being of ourselves.
Yes.
Yes, yes, and yes. I will always say yes. You are unique. You really pegged that. You are uniquely, incredibly gifted from this physical aspect of this world, where I believe you're a genius in your own right, and you're also gifted the same way in the spiritual world. You have double gifts to offer us.
Thank you.